And therefore, we don't have the economic power to stop that from being. It's just simply wrong, but part of it is our fault for not voting. Now, the criminal justice system, which I was a part of for approximately 20 years, convicted blacks under circumstances where whites would not have been convicted. And those convictions for felonies resulted in a loss of the right to vote. Again, a part of the establishment to demonize blacks and disfranchise blacks and leave them powerless. But it doesn't have to be that way. We can do better.
Thank you. And also, I believe that Dr. Joanna Martin has a poem that I believe is very moving to our youth in this generation.
It's actually an interview that I did with a teenager named Kelly Ralston from Glenn Whitman High School. Kelly asked me what was it like growing up in the, how did you perceive the racial climate to be in Yulee, Florida when you were growing up? And I answered, well, I went to a segregated school. I grew up in a segregated city and county and state. There were signs all over, white only. One of my experiences that stands out for me is that one winter when there was a flu epidemic, my mother and I had colds, I guess the flu, and we not feeling well at all, we went to the doctor in Fernandina Beach. My aunt was there because she had the flu, and there was a waiting room full of people. I was maybe 6 years old. My aunt or someone in the waiting room, in the colored waiting room, would look out into the white waiting room and inform everyone of how many people were left, because no matter how sick you were, sickness had a color too. So even if you had a white person who came in with a splinter, the doctors were going to aid them first, because the policy was that they would wait on all of the people in the white waiting room, and when they cleared that out, they would wait on the colored people. So people were concerned because maybe there were 20 people in the colored waiting room and it was small, but people were concerned that it was getting near closing time, and they would make this report and say, oh well, they got about 2 more over there now, and then another white person would come in and change the landscape. That was the climate. There was just really no equality, no value. Even with sickness, no breaking of the rules, of the traditions. But I also remember speaking in Texas to a group of a predominantly white audience, and I talked about a restaurant by the name of Winnebee Restaurant, where we had to go to the kitchen. And every Friday when my mother got paid, we would go to Winnebee to order a meal. We'd go to the kitchen, and what was amazing to me, and again I'm looking at this from the eyes of a child, but something that continues to have an impact on me. When you walked into the kitchen, everyone there was black. And as I got older and began to analyze it, I'm saying white people trusted black people with 2 very basic aspects of everyday life: raising their children and cooking their food. And so you had these black caregivers who had the ability to shape the child and turn him into whatever, could turn them into the Yulee axe murderer and go kill a lot of white folks. You could train that child to do that. And so here's this whole notion that we're supposed to be inferior, but you entrust us with these basic tasks like cooking your food. You could sprinkle a little poison or any other kind of foreign matter. So that was always so strange to me. But here were all these black people in the kitchen, and there would be the head cook or someone of authority. She would take our order and she would get the money and go where the cash register was, where the white people were eating at tables. And she might tell the cashier that we were paying for 2 hamburgers when actually we had gotten the shrimp dinner. Or she might say that we were paying for 6 shrimp when we had gotten 30. And so I would sit back and analyze that kind of thing. And I'd say, now how can they be superior to everybody and smarter than everybody? They're not smarter than mama. And all these black people in this kitchen who have decided, okay, well, this is the way you have set up this game, but I'm going to play it my way. It's designed to make me feel inferior, but I feel a sense of power. There were just so many contradictions to me in the racial climate of the United States. There still are.
That's excellent. Amen.
Johnson, I have a question. What is your opinion on black crime?
Well, I think it's an outrage. Blacks are not each other's enemies. I've tried approximately 100 murder cases as a circuit court judge for the Circuit Court of Baltimore City, wherein a black boy killed another black boy. And usually he did so for some stupid or dumb reason, or for no reason at all, maybe out of self-hatred, or to get the rights to sell drugs on a particular drug corner, for no reason whatsoever. Not that there ever could be a reason for murder, but that's one of the things that made me take a retirement a little earlier than I would have originally. I had 7 more years to serve, and I chose to cut it short and get out and see what I could do to talk to youth and to write and to do whatever I could to address that problem and to think about that problem. I don't have any solution, but somewhere down the line, we're going to have to stop disrespecting each other. We're going to have to stop calling each other the N-word. We're going to have to start respecting our women. We're going to have to stop raping our women. We're going to have to stop murdering each other. Now, I'm saying this is the black male is because he's the one who is doing so. The black female is bad too, but not as bad as our young black males, so we have to stop that. Now, one of the reasons white society gives for having no black men in the house is they give that reason as being no role model there. Well, when I came to Baltimore in 1969, they had a Maryland law that they called the man in the house rule, the Department of Social Services. If a man was living in the house, the women could not get welfare. The children could not get welfare. And of course, the man was miseducated, and there was not enough jobs around, and he couldn't find no jobs. So they chased him out of the house. They raided the house at 4 o'clock in the morning to see whether or not a man was in the house. So they ran them all out. That's how they got out. And now they're blaming the black man for not having black men in the house. They chased them out and started a whole new culture. And of course that rule was challenged in court, and the courts overturned that rule. So I feel very, very sad that in my later life, I'm going down the other side of that mountain in life, to look back and see all that my generation tried to do to lay the foundation for the next generation slipping, just like Clarence Mitchell Jr. And Juanita Mitchell, Miss Lily Carol Mitchell tried to do. I walked up on their backs, Thurgood Marshall's back. We took advantage of that. The youth of today are not taking advantage of it to the same extent. Now, this is not an indictment of all black males or all black youth, because we have plenty of them, like you out there, who are doing real good, and I applaud you.
Judge Johnson, it was a pleasure having you here. You are definitely a trailblazer, living legend. Even though you say a country small boy, but still that small boy is definitely, like Mr. Mitchell said, has made a great, tremendous difference. And I hope our youth do see that. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much for having me.
Appreciate it. It's an honor.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
This is John Carrington. I'm here at the NAACP convention, and Dr. Joanne Martin just unveiled 2 new figures, Walter White and Thurgood Marshall. Dr. Martin, tell us about the moment.
This is it's such a historic moment for me, because I'm looking at the fact that within the room, when history repeats itself, that in this room we have Julian Bond and Kwesi Mfume, but even more important, Dr. Benjamin Hooks. And the idea that they're here together. I think about a photo that we used in the crafting of these wax figures that has Walter White, Thurgood Marshall, and Roy Wilkins in the same photo. So to have all of these people who are making their mark on history as we speak, those people who have made their mark on history as we speak, and that this is going to be something that someone is going to look back at one day and see the significance of it. That it's just very gratifying for me and very exciting. I'm just awestruck by it all.
Well, you have a partnership now with the NAACP. I guess you're going to be at the Image Awards, and you're going to be on TV nationally now. And
Well,
I mean, what's the next big connection between you and NAACP?
Well, every year we've gone to the NAACP conventions as a major part of the information exchange, and we have this almost road show now. We were in D.C. for the military awards banquet, and we were with them in Atlanta for the T.D. Jakes Mega Fest that had over 200,000 people in attendance, and we've been to Las Vegas and a civil rights struggle, and so there's a lot on the horizon, and the more we can teach people about a Walter White or a Thurgood Marshall and just how they impacted all of our lives, then the better we can do our job.
Well, I hope more people now come to visit the Great Blacks in Wax Museum in Baltimore City and see these wonderful, wonderful historic figures that you have preserved in wax.
And I'm sure you know that you mean the National Great Blacks in Wax Museum?
That's right. You are now the National Great Blacks in Wax Museum. Thank you, Dr. Joanne Martin.
Thank you.
And we welcome you. We urge you to come back and join us the next time we do our teen forum here at the Great Blacks in Wax Mansion. Like Nia said, it's your voices that need to be heard, and this is a great way for your voices to be heard and any opinions that you have or any questions that you have. So, jump aboard. Call the number on the screen. All right, that's a wrap for today. You guys had some awesome questions. I mean, even I was like, man, that's a good question. I was thinking that on my mind as well. And our panel, they did excellent, sharing their views and their opinions. Like we said, we urge you guys to join us next time. Come back. Bye.
See you next time.